Jasmine Jasovizzi is here. Don't forget to tap into the Darts podcast.
The Darce choke is a submission executed from the front headlock position. It involves encircling the opponent's neck with the crook of one's arm, while the other arm wraps around the opponent's arm, applying pressure, leading to a tap or unconsciousness.
Tap into the Darts podcast.
It's your guys at the Darts podcast. Your boy Slick Montana, Mr. Plus, Cows on the ones and twos, and our guy Brasco is in Italy. Living life, man. Living life, as everybody knows. But at the end of the day, man, me and Mr. Plus and Cows on the ones and twos still here to give you guys the Darts podcast, of course, with a nice little event, man. We got two guys at the top of the top, Brandon Royval and Tatsuro Taira getting at it. Brandon Royval risking his number one spot. Tatsuro Taira climbing off the rankings with that body triangle submission that he had on Alex Pereira. I don't know what that was, but that was crazy, man. And they were saying that he used to do that like in tournaments out in China. So, hey, man, props to him. Can't wait to watch this main event. But, you know, we're going to come down, break down the whole card for you guys, and we're just going to step right into it. Right now, our guy, Mr. Plus, hit last week with Alex Pereira, even though all the line movement went towards Austin Hubbard. Alex Hernandez was minus 110 by the time the fight started. Crazy, man. And Alexander Hernandez still got the job done. And also Alex Pereira, you know, nothing wrong with that. And Joaquin Buckley, man, getting that third round knockout, arguably could have been down 2 rounds. So, Mr. Plus,
Yeah.
what you think about your
I think we got a little lucky, but we needed it, and we needed to get the bus back on track. That was a very exciting card at the end. Khalil Roundtree really showed his strength, and even though he lost, I feel like he still won. I think he's still going to move up the rankings, man. That was Alex Pereira's hardest fight that we've seen him in. So that was an awesome way for the champ to get it done. Man, he's just relentless, bro. I don't know who's gonna step up and beat him, but this is a fire card. This definitely the card we got right now. It's got some absolute bangers on it. And if we're getting started, are we rolling with the bus?
We're going to start it with the bus. So if you want to start it right off, we got right now, Mr. Plus giving you guys a plus 274 3-leg parlay.
Parlay bus, bet it all in trust. Odds stack high, feel the thrill, that's a must. And I'll see you when that shit cashes. Celebrate.
So go ahead, Mr. Plus.
Yo, let's do this. Let's try and cash another Mr. Plus parlay bus. Let's keep this thing rolling. For leg number 1, this is the earliest fight on the bus. We're going with Razak Al-Hassan. We don't have Brasco here to help us out, but he's fighting Josh Friend. And, man, last time this guy came out, I think it ended no contest, but he was putting a whooping, bro. This dude was beating the shit out of Cody Brundage, bro. And I saw that line movement at the end, too. People thought Cody Brundage was just going to come in and grapple with this guy. No way. His strength, his power, I think he's very explosive. I think it's just going to be a problem for someone like Josh Friend, who we've seen take a lot of damage before. So this guy doesn't wear the damage that well. Give me Razak Al-Hassan to start off the Mr. Plus parlay bus. And we're going right to the next fight, sweating them back to back for the bus this week. We're going with D-Rod, and I think he's just going to beat up Alex Morono. I think Morono got exposed last fight against Nico Price on the feet, and Daniel Rodriguez is somebody that you don't want to go head-to-head with on the feet, and Morono is going to kind of come in there and try to pretend like he wants to do it, fake shoot. Maybe he shoots a takedown, but, I mean, I think he's getting clipped up on the feet, and I think D-Rod can defend the takedowns, and I think D-Rod is due for a dub here. They made him fight Gastelum 3 months ago. He had to fight Machado. I mean, this guy fights nothing but really, really good competition inside the division. So I'm going with D-Rod to cash us in the last leg of the bus. Man, I'm glad they're running this back because this fight got canceled, a couple months ago. I really wanted to see it happen. I'm going with Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle. Man, I just think he's going to be relentless on the feet, the pressure, in the clinch work. Man, he's not scared to throw the knee, the leg kicks. Brad Tavares, he's getting kind of old, man. What's he like, 30 something, 37, 38 now? I just think Jung Young Park's got this, man. This is a great spot for him, and he's actually really powerful in this division, man. Although he had that loss to Andre Munoz last fight, it was a split decision. Some could say it went the other way. I know I was on him. I think he gets us our money back here. Give me Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle, to cash in the bust this week. Give me your thoughts on those, Slick.
Yeah, man, definitely a great value parlay bust right there. So for the first fight, we got Abdul Razak Hassan fighting Josh Frem, and I'm definitely on Abdul in this fight. This guy has just lit something in him. Like this guy is just coming out for blood after that Buckley fight. In that Cody Brundage fight, man, was he putting it on Cody Brundage. And everybody in their mind would say Cody Brundage just wanted out. Like he was legit asking his coaches, like, what should I do? Is it a DQ? If I don't move or something, and he just said F it, because the last fight before that, he actually got a disqualification win over Jacob Malkoun, basically for the same thing, elbows to the back of the head. But Jacob Malkoun's was a little bit more blatant. Abdul Razak just hit him because Cody Brundage was trying to dodge the elbows, and he accidentally hit him in the back. So yeah, man, I definitely like Abdul Razak Hassan. And even against Roman Kopylov, like Josh Frem is known for like having good quality technical striking. He has good cardio. But man, Roman Kopylov was just able to use him as a punching bag in that fight. And even his last fight against Andre Petrowski, this man just could not be able to get off the floor. And a lot of people thought that he was going to have the cardio edge in that fight. And Petrowski just laid on him for 14 minutes in that fight, and he couldn't do nothing. So yeah, I'm definitely on Abdul Razak Al Hassan in that spot. Yeah, for the next fight, I'm a little bit worrisome, but I'm definitely gonna take whatchamacallit. Excuse me. I'm definitely going to take D-Rod in this spot. I'm sorry, I didn't. I meant to say I was a little bit nervous for your last leg. I'm real high on. Honestly, this is a fight that I was really contemplating making. Just a D-Rod, a 10-unit straight play at -200. Like you said, Alex Morono has just been looking uglier and uglier each fight. And he lost the striking battle to Nico Price, got out damaged in that fight, got outworked. And even the fight before that with Court McGee. Court McGee was actually out striking him, beating him to better positions. And like you said, he's a good jiu-jitsu guy, but he doesn't shoot takedowns. He doesn't. And like the only type of jiu-jitsu that he involves himself with is if somebody shoots a takedown on him and he'll snatch up a guillotine that he's real good at. D-Rod is going to do none of that. D-Rod, and like you said, in that fight against Kelvin Gastelum, they was scheduled to fight at 170. Kelvin Gastelum ate too many tacos, and he had the fight changed to 185 the day of. So and D-Rod still stood in there for 3 rounds, arguably won 2 of the 3 rounds, landed some crazy shots that only Gastelum will be able to eat. And even before that, like he lost to some great competition. Ian Gary. I know a lot of people don't like him, but you gotta respect the guy's talents, his skills. He's definitely one of the most skilled guys that D-Rod has fought. So this is definitely a good bounce back spot for him. I just think that Alex Morono is gonna more than likely keep this fight on the feet, and if this fight is on the feet, D-Rod is going to throw 100, 125 strikes, and a lot of them are going to land on Alex Morono. So I'm definitely high on D-Rod. And for the last fight, I cannot bet against the Iron Turtle. I had bet this guy damn near all of his fights. I lost money on him when he fought against Andre Muniz, who was just staying still on top, not doing nothing. Turtle was like, bro, can you stand us up? I'm trying to fight, bro. And the other knockout loss, I was on him when he fought Gregory Rodriguez. At this point, anybody that loses to Gregory Rodriguez, there's no shame in that. The guy is just on another level right now. And Brad Tavares, I just don't think that he's going to be able to eat the punches for all 3 rounds. This is a guy that's used to usually be durable, but nowadays he's just wearing good damage on him. He's not really reacting well to the punches. He wasn't able to take out Chris Weidman, who was done in both legs in that fight. I just don't believe in him unless he knocks out Iron Turtle, who I don't think he can knock out. I think Iron Turtle is going to be there for all 3 rounds, grinding on him, putting him in spots that he's not comfortable in. And I think Iron Turtle could definitely get a good decision win, if not a late knockout. So I'm definitely high on the Iron Turtle on that spot as well. Next one we're going to talk about is the Slick Report.
Check this. He's the master of the breakdown and slick moves. That's Made Kappa. Village fighters, he improved. Ends will see. Making sure you gas, nothing to lose. With within sight, every fighter's skills he reviews. From the cage to the cars, he's got the fight plan.
You already know. I'm gonna take one leg of Mr. Plus's parlay legs, man. I'm gonna go with Abdul Razak Al Hassan minus 155. You could be able to get him. I don't really have to say much about this fight. Like I said, I think Abdul is gonna have the punching edge. He's gonna be stronger in the cage. I don't think Josh Frem is gonna be able to wear on him. I think Abdul's gonna have the cardio too. We seen him go 3 straight grinded out rounds with Joaquin Buckley, who was a way harder hitter than Josh Frem, who was a better grinder at that moment than Josh Frem. So I'm gonna go with Abdul Razak Al Hassan, and I'm gonna put like 2 or 3 units on him. I think it's definitely worth that. You got anything you want to add on the Slick report?
Nah, he's a killer, bro. I'm going with him, and obviously he's part of the bus. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, so we're gonna go right on to the next segment, and that's our dogs of the week. And
Oh,
Mr. Plus is coming with I wouldn't say a pretty strange dog, but one that a lot of people will be on in this spot just for his personality, the way he fights. He goes in there trying to make wars. He's not trying to outpoint you. So, Mr. Plus, who's your dog of the week?
man, I am going with the funny electric Chris Barnett, bro. I've bet on this guy before. I've won with him before. I can't believe it's been 2 years since that knockout of Jake Collier, man. That's crazy. 2 years flew by. I feel like I've seen this guy so many times, and even the fight before that, when he lost. Technical decision against Martin Budai. That doesn't look like a bad loss anymore. So anyway, yeah, I like Chris Barnett. Man, he's small. He's a little like fat dude, but he's got that karate style. He could still kick you in the head, which is awesome. He's got that taekwondo bounce. I really like this guy. And listen, really, what I'm betting on is the value in the line, because if you're gonna give me any Taffa brother minus 300, minus 400, I'm going to fade it. That's just really that simple. I don't know how a guy could lose 3 out of the last 4, like he's lost his fights, and then his only win be to what? Parker Porter, right? Yeah, come on, bro. I don't see it. But the one thing I don't like about Chris that I just looked at is the activity, man. He's not really fighting that often. 2 years ago is a long time. Why did he take a 2-year layoff? Did he get a
I might be
surgery?
able to help you out with that. Plus, if you want to know,
Awesome.
his wife
Let's let
died.
Cal jump in, but I'm still taking him.
His second last fight, Chris's wife died. So he actually went into the fight, and you guys can look it up. But his wife actually passed away, and he still went and fought. And he was a bad man. I think he lost that one. I'm pretty sure I'm running the timeline. Then obviously came back with his last one. So that's why he likely took some time off to mentally sort of recoup, and maybe, who knows, we might see a leaner Barnett out there. But I think the size sort of helps him out in his dog money. But anyway.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I agree. And damn, we didn't know that. Rest in peace to Chris Barnett's wife. And I do think he comes back and gets this win. 2 years a long time. But again, any Taffer brother, this big of a line, this wide, I got to fade it, man, all day. What do you think, Slick?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, bro, you just can't bet on no Justin Taffa brother at minus 400, bro. This is the dogger pass for me, but more of just a fade this fight at all times, because this is just a fight that you don't know what's going to happen. Like, Justin Taffa is way more the technical striker, kickboxing, glory kickboxing type of guy. And he doesn't really throw no kicks. He's more of just a traditional stand-up boxer type of guy. So it's gonna be pretty weird, like, just for the simple fact that is he gonna be able to counter Chris Barnett, because Chris Barnett just that type of guy that he tries to just go in there winging hooks and hopefully one lands, and then he throws a spinning back kick every now and then. So it's gonna be just a weird fight for me. I'm not betting on Justin Taffa at minus 400. I'm definitely might even take a sprinkle on Chris Barnett at the end of the day. I would love to see him win and doing that front flip that he always does when he wins, making DC jealous and on the sidelines saying that I wish I could move like that. So at the end of the day, and yeah, I was gonna even say that too. I remember Chris Barnett's wife dying, because you at the end of the day, when somebody dies that's close to you, you already know John Anik is gonna be somewhere saying, yeah, this guy's wife has died and stuff like that. So I learned it from John Anik when he said it when Chris Barnett was fighting Martin Buday. So man, rest in peace to her. And I thought, if I'm not mistaken, he had to take over all custody of all the kids and stuff like that. So he probably had to, take a 2 year layoff, get everything right, get everything situated, and I'm just happy to see him back in the cage. At the end of the day, he's probably gonna lose 3 pounds walking into the cage because he always dances before he gets in there. So so yeah, man. So Mr. Plus going with Chris Barnett. I believe you
Who's
should
your
get Chris
dog?
Barnett right now at plus 310 on some books. Most books, I would say plus 310 for Chris Barnett.
All right,
Yeah,
all
so
right. Who's your dog of the week?
my dog of the week, man, is my favorite fighter, bro. Honestly, I'm gonna tell everybody this is the most biased pick I ever had on the show. Brandon Royval, man, plus 176. This guy, I've been watching since his first fight against Tim Elliott in the UFC till now. This guy is just a fun ass guy to watch, man. He always comes in there, always win or lose, tries to not get to the judges. And if the fight does get to the judges, like how it did against Morono, he's gonna make it fun. Like this guy threw almost 250 punches with a broken forearm in that fight. So that just goes to show you how tough of a guy he is. And like I said, man, this is more of a biased pick for me because Brandon Royval is definitely my favorite fighter. But hey, man, he's fighting a tough up and coming Tatsuro Taira. One thing that Brandon Royval did struggle against was elite grapplers. Guys that could hold him down, guys that won't fall for those guillotines, those crazy triangles, stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be a tough outcome, tough fight for Brandon Royval. But at the end of the day, man, I hope my man gets the job done. Plus 176, I'm riding with him to the wheels fall off. What you think, Mr. Plus?
Damn, this is most certainly the main event, man. What a main event we got. Brandon Royval, the nasty striker, and he's got great grappling too. Versus the Tatsuro Taira, this guy on the up and coming, just beating the shit out of everybody he goes up against. I mean, damn, man, this is a tough one to pick. I'll be honest with you. I mean, the only guys that Royval loses to, Pantoja. What? That's crazy, bro. I mean, he beat Brandon Moreno. I just, man, this is maybe where the O has got to go. Tatsuro Taira, he beats everybody that he's went up against, but they're just the level of competition is nowhere near where Royval has been. I mean, I guess he beat Shirez a while back. I don't know, man. This is a really tough one to call. Royval might do it. He really might get it done. He's 5'9", but they got the same reach. It's a little weird, but maybe his kicks. Not sure. We're gonna see a dog fight here though from Royval. I mean, I think he's got to make it dirty. Uh, Shit, this is a tough one. I'm really not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. I know I got to pick for the pod, so I guess I will. But fuck, man. I'm probably going Royval. I'm probably going dog. End the night with the dog.
In Salt Lake, just before the event, Hernandez and Royval teammates were on the way to the event, and somebody got shot and killed, and Royval tracked the guy down, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Dana White actually, they said they mentioned that to Dana White, and he for something that always involved a UFC fighter. Dana White never knows about it. Like he never knew about that Allen and Marvin Vittori big ass brawl in that casino. He didn't know about freaking Kevin Holland doing that with the shooter when he caught the shooter his time. He didn't know about this with Brandon Royval, Alexander Hernandez. Like, what's the guy doing, man? He's just sitting down waiting for Travis Scott's to release so he could have like
Counting money, counting money.
so yeah, man. So I'm more biased, like I said, going with Brandon Royval. Mr. Plus is leaning Brandon Royval, but he's not ready to pull the trigger on him. But yeah, and then we got the darts parlay. This week we're gonna give you guys a 2-leg darts parlay. We're just gonna make it more simple than anything. Mr. Plus, what's your leg of the darts?
Leading off for the Darsh parlay this week, and we're trying to get you guys to cash some tickets. That's what we want. So we're gonna go. I'm going with Demba Garimbo for my leg of the Darsh. Yes, we saw Nico Price beat up Alex Morono, but man, I like Demba Garimbo. I like what he's doing. Listen, the UFC likes him too. If it goes to decision, this guy's gonna get the nod. Trust me. It's good for business. This guy went from like the homeless thing to getting a house and all that. The big storyline behind Demba Garimbo. 3-fight win streak. He really does his thing though, man. He's strong in there. I like when he strikes. He's definitely not a bad striker, and he's good with grappling as well. He can take you down and keep you down. Someone like Nico Price is definitely going to try and throw hands, but I think it's going to be a bad spot. Demba Garimbo is probably going to have the speed advantage. Nico Price is 35. Not that Demba's not, what is he, 33? But, 35, you're really starting to feel it. I'm 36, so I know. I mean, man, I got to go with Demba Garimbo to get his fourth in a row.
Yeah, man. Like you said, he's 35, but man, this guy is probably like 80 in UFC years. Like this guy has been in some of the craziest wars in the UFC. Like I remember when he got beat up by Phil Rowe. I remember when Robbie Lawler knocked him out cold in like 40 seconds of their fight. I remember Michelle Pereira freaking destroyed them all 3 rounds. This guy's just been taking damage after even that Alex Morono fight, man. Morono was piecing him up too on the feet. I just can't trust this guy, man. Like 6 of his 7 losses have come by finish. That just goes to show you that if it does go to decision, more than likely he's gonna lose because 13 of his 16 wins have come by finish. And I just don't believe he's gonna be able to finish a guy like Themba Gorimbo. I loved what I seen from Themba Gorimbo in his last fight. He was one of those types of guys that he would be an opportunistic type of submission guy. Whenever he got the grappling going. He tried to just go for crazy submissions, go for crazy guillotines, and then he got himself stuck on bottom. Last fight, we seen him play a more patient game, played the game that a lot of people didn't even expect him to play. But I love this game plan in there. He just wasn't allowing. He fought Ramiz Brahimov, and he just didn't allow Ramiz Brahimov to do anything. He stood in his toes. When the ref said kept moving, he moved to a different position. And that's one thing I like about him. He's smart in the game plan, and he just really wanted to win his last fight. He was fighting for his coach that missed his child's birth. So he was fighting for his coach. So I just think that there's a good possibility that Themba Gorimbo actually gets a sub or a knockout in this spot. I think Themba Gorimbo is going to be able to. I think he has the more power edge too, and on the feet, knowing that Nico Price doesn't really have the chin the chin that he once had. So yeah, man, I'm definitely loving that Themba Gorimbo spot. But I'm gonna take him by knockout or sub. But you could take a money line for the darts parlay. And we're gonna go right into my leg. My leg, like I always told you, my most confident bet of the night, Daniel Rodriguez, aka D Rod. You get that right now at plus 100. I don't really have to say much to say about D Rod. Like I said, I think he's gonna have the volume. I think he's gonna have the better chin, and I think he's gonna have the more power on the feet too. So yeah, we're gonna go with D Rod. Mr. Plus, you want to add on anything with D Rod?
No, we already got him on the bus, so you know where I stand on that one. He should be cashing in for us.
So yeah, man. So get that 2 leg parlay right now on FanDuel plus 100, and let's get to the counter, man. Last week we had a little subpar week after cashing the darts parlay, but hey, man, let's just worry about this week and cash another one. So we
Yeah,
pretty
for
much
sure.
went for everything. We're gonna go through the honorable mentions now. This is probably a weird fight right here. We got Jonathan Pierce versus Pat Sabatini. More than likely, two grapplers, two wrestler type of guys. Not really. I would say Pierce has the better striking. Sabatini has more of the movement side to side, probably more technically sound. But I think Pierce has the more power in on the feet. So I just think this is gonna be a weird fight for me. Maybe I lean Sabatini for the simple fact that I know Jonathan Pierce, like against David Onama and a lot of guys, he was able to get reversed and was able to just stay on bottom. I think Sabatini probably could get him reversed and probably stay on top. He's more of the control type of guy than getting the sub. So I lean Sabatini for that simple fact, but I just don't want to trust Sabatini's chin at this moment. This guy has just been getting chin check after chin check. So I'm gonna lean Sabatini, but probably no bet for me. If anything, probably bet the over when props come out. What do you think, Mr. Plus?
I love the over. That's definitely going to hit. But yeah, I mean, this is just a kind of like two wrestler grapplers. So maybe they're going to throw hands. Maybe we'll see that a little bit. If that's the case, I think Pierce has the edge. If Sabatini can keep him down and do his wrestling thing, obviously I think control time and he's got a good ground and pound. He throws up submission attempts. He definitely stays busy if he gets your back. So I like Pat Sabatini. I don't think I think I mean, I don't like. I don't have a bet on this one. Like you said, it's like a coin flip. Could go either way. But if I had to lean, I'm definitely Sabatini's side. Um, and I'm not sure where I stand on it. Definitely the over. That's a really really good one. Like these guys are. I don't think they're gonna finish each other that fast. Pause. But yeah, that's. I don't think that happens.
Kyle, you got
I'm gonna jump in here and shit all over everything that you guys just said. But who the hell am I? I think Sabatini gets cracked. The dude doesn't handle a punch very well. He's shown time and time again, even in fights where he doesn't get KO'd, he just takes a shot and you see him sort of crumple back. And I just think that Pierce's pressure eventually is just gonna wilt this man. The over could still cash, but I don't know if this goes the distance. I think this two grapplers, like Plus said, great point. They'll be on the feet, and I think Pierce is going to actually crack him. And Sabatini's just a guy who doesn't like to take punches like Brock Lesnar.
yeah,
I don't
Brock.
hate it.
What you was gonna say, Mr. Plus?
I don't hate it at all.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, I mean, you know, Sabatini has only been knocked out by a flying knee from Damon Jackson and Diego Lopez, you know. So at the end of the day, if Jonathan Pierce probably lands something like that, or because Jonathan Pierce, the one thing I don't like about him is that he doesn't really have no rhythm with his strikes, you know. He's just winging punches or he's trying to get his jab going. Then he stops going from his jab and then starts going to winging punches. And then sometimes he just tries to wing punches to get the takedown. So yeah, I could, but like I said, Sabatini's chin is a little concerning. Even in that Lucas Almeida fight, whenever it was on the feet, Lucas Almeida was cracking him. So yeah, I definitely don't hate that. Next fight,
Yeah, for me, Slick, the only thing I'm going to look at, I just want to see what the value is on it, just because I know Pierce's striking isn't that great, but it's just with Sabatini having the crumple chin, I just think that if you can get a lot of value on JSP, because a lot of people might see it the same way you do, then, it's value prop.
yeah. So next fight,
No
we got
doubt.
not really a high level fight, but I would say these guys are in the upper echelons. You know, Grant Dawson versus Rafa Garcia. Rafa Garcia, he's coming off that win. And Grant Dawson, man, I was watching this guy in Atlantic City, bro, and probably the worst fight that I probably should have went to take a Henny break. But I got the Henny before the fight thinking it was gonna be a good one. And Grant Dawson was just getting tons and tons and tons of booze in Atlantic City. They hated that shit because the fight before that, I believe we had a girl fight and it was just same thing over and over again. So, and Grant Dawson also lost to Bobby Green, -600 favorite, got freaking cracked by a jab and fell down, and there was Darcy wrote. And but Rafa Garcia, I would say he's pretty solid. You know, he got a little bit ragdolled against Drakkar Close. A lot of people thought that he won that fight for the more activity on the feet, and but Drakkar Close had the takedowns, had the control time. So it was a close fight. You know, I wouldn't have minded if they gave it to Rafa Garcia because he was like a plus 280 dog in that fight. And then, you know, they gave him Mahashate and Clay Guida after that. Two guys that we already know Rafa Garcia holds a wrestling edge over. He dominated those two guys. So, yeah, pretty weird fight for me. This is another fight that I leaned over just for the simple fact that Grant Dawson is on here. But he leans Rafa Garcia at these odds, man. Rafa Garcia coming in at like plus 280. I might lean Rafa Garcia. What you think, Mr. Plus?
Yeah, I got a lean plus money on this one. I really don't like this fight at all. I wouldn't touch it as far as the bet goes. But if I got to pick, I'm going Rafa Garcia. Man, I Grant Dawson could hold him down maybe, but that fight against Bobby Green showed me he has no stand up, and Rafa Garcia actually has some hands. He's definitely not scared to throw punches. I don't know many Mexican dudes that don't have hands. But this dude's definitely pretty scary. When he's in there, 16 and threes is a great record. And the Drakkar close, yeah, that was like the worst I've seen him. But he's won 4 out of his last 5 fights. I like this guy, Rafa, and I'm not a big Grant Dawson believer, man. Yeah, he's a decision machine. I just can't get behind that.
So yeah, so we both, me and Mr. Plus, both leaning Rafa Garcia plus money in that spot. Not a really a high unit bet, but probably a little sprinkle on that. Next fight, we got probably the worst fight on the card in my eyes. You know, we got Corey McKenna versus Julia Palastri. Corey McKenna has the same length of arms as my son Malachi. Like she has the shortest reach in the UFC. Like her reach is like 58. Like I'm not even joking. Like it's like legit the shortest reach in the UFC. I'm just not too high on her, man. She sometimes comes out looking like she's gonna look good in the striking, and the next thing you know, she just goes right back to her wrestling, which we know is pretty solid. But that's only if she gets the wrestling going. Whenever she doesn't get the wrestling going, I don't think that she looks good on the feet. And her last fight, she got armbarred by Jacqueline Amarin, a jiu-jitsu ace. Nothing wrong with that. But I just believe Julia Pilastri is just going to be more tougher than her in this spot. Julia Pilastri has the grappling also in her back pocket, has tons of submissions, arm triangles, stuff like that in her back pocket. And she fought a tough Josephine Nuts in her last fight. And even in that fight, man, she still put out tons of volume, stood all 3 rounds, even though a lot of people thought she was going to get KO'd. I think Josephine Nuts in KO was like plus 140. There was more favorite for her to get KO'd than the decision. So I just think Pulaski's going to be the better grappler. McKenna might be the better wrestler, but on the feet, I just think it's going to be all Pilastri. Give me Pilastri in this spot. Money line, I believe you get her like minus 130, minus 140 on some books. What do you think about this fight, Mr. Plus?
I almost put her on the bus. I like Pilastri. I think she gets the job done. This is definitely a fade spot for McKenna. Although she's a little bulldog and tries to be tough sometimes. I don't dislike that style. I just think Pilastri is going to be stronger, a little bit longer in the reach, obviously. So yeah, I like Pilastri to get the job done at minus 150. I think it's a good tag if it's still there. You can take it straight. I would even put it in like a 2-leg parlay.
Yeah, so me and Mr. Plus both leaning Julia Pilastri, basically fading the McKenna, Corey McKenna. Next fight we're gonna talk about is a pretty weird matchmaking. I would say probably got because both these guys are veterans. They're matching them up just for one sake, I guess. We got Cheating Njikwani versus Jared Gooden. Cheating Njikwani, honestly, it's just disappointing sometimes. Like his last fight against Reese McKee, another fight that was in Atlantic City. It was just for the simple fact that Cheating Njikwani, if he just put his pedal to the metal in any moment in that fight, he could have knocked out Reese McKee. He played it more safe, I believe, because he's starting to hear the criticism and he's starting to notice in himself that he goes too hard in that first round. Next thing you know, he ends up gassing himself in the second and third. He ends up getting finished. And he took his time. His last fight lasted all 3 rounds, just basically piecing up Reese McKee. And then we got Jared Gooden, who's coming off a first round knockout against Edmund Shabazian. I just can't trust this guy no more. I actually got him as a friend on Instagram, and this guy just does not look like he takes this serious anymore. He was probably going to the gym like once or twice a week, not really trying to look into probably just thinking that he's just good enough for the gym, I guess. So I'm gonna fade him. I'm gonna just go with Chidi Njikwani. I think Chidi has the better power, longer reach, nice sniping shots. So as long as he takes his time and gets the takes his time and doesn't lose his cardio, because like we seen Jared Gooden pull off a Hail Mary sub his last fight. So I'm not too high on him. I'm gonna take cheating to Jiguani, but I'm not rushing to the counter bet it. What do you think about this fight, Mr. Plus?
Yeah, I don't like this fight at all, and I don't know. I kind of got to fade Cheaty, man. The Rodriguez loss, okay. Then the Duraev loss, like whatever, and then you lose to Olajaychek, who's just getting tossed around and beat up by everybody, and then the Reese McKee. I mean, that again, like you said, wasn't impressive, man. I guess I'd have to fade Cheaty and go Jared Gooden plus money. The Wellington Turman submission was cool. The rear naked choke, I remember that. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna take the plus money shot, maybe for something small. Cheaty's also getting old, 35 years old. He's gonna start feeling the punches, wearing it more. Yeah, I'm just not a Cheaty fan anymore. Ever since he's been getting beat up, 3 in a row, he hasn't looked the same.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm not rushing, especially at minus 195. Damn near minus 200. Cheaty, I just can't trust what's his game plan gonna be when he comes out there. You know, Next thing you know, when you look at his last fight, thinking he's gonna take his time, he comes out like a bat out of hell and ends up going in the first round trying to knock out Jared Gooden. So, and I'm sorry, I actually mistaken Jared Gooden for somebody else. that he actually won his last fight via Hail Mary sub against Thurman. So and he fought against Carl Harris his last fight where he basically just got out grinded. So next fight, I would say two prospects, honestly. Like you got Clayton Carpenter, coming off that first round submission in the contender series against Julian Rocha, 17-1 prospect coming off the contender series with a second round knockout over David Bittencourt. Honestly, plus I might be leaning the plus money in this spot, man. I know Clayton Carpenter. The one thing about him that he's a relentless grappler. He gets the fights down to the ground. He got good ground and pound. But I just seen the one concern about him that I've seen in a lot of fights outside the UFC was that this guy is just mad hittable. Like he gets hit a lot. A lot of times he usually gets hit to take the takedown to get the takedowns, and that's just a concern for me. Rocha, from what I've seen, he does get taken down a bit, but I always seen him work back up, never settles for the feet. And if this fight just stays on the feet, arguably, in my opinion, I think it could be one-way traffic in Julian Rocha. Rocha has shown good combinations, good snapping power on the feet. And I just think that if this, like I said, if this fight stays on the feet, Clayton Carpenter fans might be a little worrisome. I think he has good solid striking, but he's more of a 1-2 type of guy. Doesn't really continue with combinations. And I honestly think that that's where Julian Rocha can actually excel. You wait for Clay Carpenter to throw his 1-2 or his 1-2-3, and you just catch him at the end of it. Because he's one thing I've seen about Carpenter, he doesn't really put his hand back either when he throws combinations. So I think it's a good spot for some plus money in this spot. I gotta do a little bit more research on Julian Rocha. I want to see some fights that I've seen go to the third and fourth round and stuff like that. So like his last fight, before the contender series, he went to 3 rounds decision. So I didn't get to see that fight, but I've seen a lot of other fights. So I'm gonna lean the plus money. What you think about this fight?
And those little tiny Brazilian dudes are scary as fuck. 5'3" and could fuck me up. That is scary, guys. I gotta lean the Rocha side too. I like the plus money. Definitely don't hate that at all. I think the O's got to go. That guy hasn't fought Carpenter in a year and 7 months. So yeah, I don't know. And then you're gonna go right to UFC. I think his fans might get let down.
Yeah, so like I said, man, he just got a lot of holes in his striking that I think Rocha can capitalize on. So we got two more fights to talk about. We got Cody Haddon, Cody Haddon versus Dan Argueta. Cody Haddon is like I put out early bet on him with parlayed with Daniel Rodriguez. I just think Dan Argueta is just on his way out. Not that he has shown good toughness, but man, this guy has just been showing no striking defense. Even his last 2 fights against Miles Johns and Gene Matsumoto was just getting popped in his face like there's no tomorrow. He's one of those guys that if he doesn't get the wrestling going his way, he looks like he's gassing out, trying to go all in. I just think this is a great spot for Cody Haddon. He's going to have the striking edge. Loved what I've seen from him outside the UFC. Good combinations on the feet. I think he has the defensive wrestling and grappling to withstand whatever Dan Argueta is going to show his way. And I just think he's going to have the huge cardio edge, too. I love him in the second and third round also. I might look to bet him in the second and third round, maybe by sub or knockout. I'm gonna look into those props whenever they become available. But yeah, man, I'm real high on Cody Haddon. You can find him -195. Good parlay piece, I believe. And yeah, I parlayed him with Daniel Rodriguez. What you think about this fight, Mr. Buck?
I'm not sold yet. I got to watch a little more tape on Cody Haddon, really. But I'm not scared to take some plus money on Dan Argueta on this one, to be honest, either. Um, they're just there's just levels, and Cody hasn't been around that long. He's only had that one contender series fight, so until you get to the UFC, you just don't know. And Dan Argueta is different.
He
So
he did fight Steve Erceg on the up and up, so he does have some good competition under his belt. So well, we both uh Mr. Plus hasn't really picked yet who he wants in that fight. Leans Argueta, but I think Cody Haddon gets the job done. And also for this fight, I think the over is a good look, but Cody had it by knockout in the second and third round. I'm gonna take a look at that. All right, so last fight, man, we got CJ Vergara versus Ramazan Tamarov. This is gonna be, I would say, fight of the night in my eyes, man. CJ Vergara, one tough guy. You know, he's gonna be in there for all 3 rounds. We've seen that comeback against Daniel Lacerda. We've seen that fight. It was a tough outcome with him and Taira. Got subbed in that fight. But man, this guy is just gonna be tough as hell in there for all 3 rounds. And Ramazan Tamarov, what I've seen him outside the UFC, he's a good striker. You know, good combinations. Throws a shit ton of spinning back kicks in one fight. Like I've seen him throw like 8 spinning back fists in one fight. I mean, spinning back kicks in one fight. And this guy, I would say he has good cardio, but the one concern about him is that he loves to get in brawls. You know, he knows he has the power edge in his hands. He has good power. And he ends up getting caught by good counter punchers. And the next thing you know, he ends up coming back in those fights, you know, ends up winning those fights. But that's just a little concern in the future. But you know, Vergara isn't that good of a power puncher. He's more of a grind you out type of guy. Takes advantage of you in the second and third round. So I'm gonna take Tamarov, but I'm gonna wait for props because I know a lot of people are probably gonna take him by knockout. You know, he has a lot of knockouts on his record, so I'm probably gonna take him by decision. I think Vergara could outlast, and if Vergara might have the better, I would say, control on the ground. Tamarov has good wrestling in his back pocket, but he's more, like I say, he's more of a stand-up striker, wants to fight on the feet. So yeah, man. So I'm a lean Tamarov, but I'm not counting on CJ Vergara in this spot. This could definitely be one of those welcome to the UFC fights type of guys and fights. So, like I said, this could be a candidate for fight of the night. What do you think, Mr. Plus?
Yeah, CJ Vergara is a dog, and he definitely isn't just going to lay down. I don't know if I want to try to parlay piece tomorrow, which is going to be risky, or just try to scoop some dog money here betting on CJ Vergara. Like you said, they're going to want to fight this one a little bit on the feet. I think that CJ Vergara never backs down from anyone on the feet. He's kill or be killed out there for sure, but you know he definitely goes to decision sometimes. Last 2 out of 3 he's won. He does get W's in the UFC. You know, this other dude hasn't been there yet. He's coming from Ryzen or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I might have to lean dog on this one. Seems like I got a lot of dogs on this card. Slick. Maybe I'll take a little CJ Vergara shot. I'm not worried. You know, I like CJ Vergara.
Hey, the way the way the UFC been looking, you're better off being on the dog other than a favorite because
Yeah.
like William Gomez, freaking Raquel Pennington, like this month and some of September has been my worst UFC weeks just because of robberies. Like,
Yeah, robberies, bro. On the wrong side of robberies. It's tough.
the difference between me profiting or me losing big, and of course, I get robbed and we lose big. So, so yeah. So thanks for coming on to the Darts podcast, man. I mean, click the like button, click the subscribe button, hit us with some comments. Any last words you got for us, Mr. Plus?
Free to like, free to subscribe, giving you guys our best bets. We're putting money down on these. We hope to cash with you guys. Hit them with some W's in the comments. And yeah, we'll see you next week on the Darsh. Buongiorno, Arrivederci, Brasco. We'll see you next time with Brasco Bets when he gets back on the Darsh.
Definitely, man. So like Mr. Plus said, like and subscribe. Hit us with some comments, man. We appreciate everybody that subscribed to us.
Jasmine Jasovizzi is here. Don't forget to tap into the Darts podcast.
The Darce choke is a submission executed from the front headlock position. It involves encircling the opponent's neck with the crook of one's arm, while the other arm wraps around the opponent's arm, applying pressure, leading to a tap or unconsciousness.
Tap into the Darts podcast.